So welcome you all to our collective calls that we hold every Tuesday and Thursday. And yeah, as of Thursday, hosting today's meeting, as always, myself, Ivan, and also Azam is here to help me out as a co-host. And yeah, we got a pretty busy day today as well because there are four amazing projects to present their pitch deck, answer some questions. So that will be a whole lot of fun. So yeah, let's waste no time. Mattia, you can go ahead. Yeah, hi, thanks for joining and stepping in.
So some quick background about the business. So our philosophy is to supercharge Bitcoin with EVM superpowers. We're willing to do this because the EVM, of course, basically encompasses the widest number of developers because it's the most adopted development paradigm for smart contracts. Our first objective is to unlock the over $1.3 trillion of economically dormant Bitcoins, whereas our benchmark objective is a factor of 100 improvement in both transaction throughput and cost. We are structured like a leading-edge Web3 company with a flat hierarchy, a small but elite engineering and cryptographic team with a nice signal-to-noise ratio, meaning that from engineering to management, there are no mid-level and they all direct report to this. Our guiding principle is simplicity of complexity to deliver cost, performance, and security, meaning that we strive to simplify otherwise complex processes in order to make them accessible for the average user. Our operational mode is, of course, fully remote. We are distributed across US, Europe, and Asia. And we target Bitcoin native DeFi as our main market. The pain points that we are mainly addressing are about liquidity fragmentation. We are starting to see huge liquidity fragmentation on Bitcoin because 23 layer 2s already create this, and 15 Bitcoin native asset standards just increased it. That we have to note that more than 80 teams are actually developing Bitcoin layer 2s, and as soon as they come to mainnet, the liquidity fragmentation will just become unmanageable. Basically, we created something that is called Bitcoin native smart assets, which are a rapid version and smart version of the Bitcoin native asset standards. So basically, we are using an asset agnostic approach in order to make them interoperable among different layers. Another very important pain point is that bridges currently rely on very high trust assumptions, and we are basically getting rid of this with the use of OpCat by creating the first ever trustless bridge with Bitcoin. We are also creating a bridge with EVM because targeting Bitcoin DeFi, we don't have stable coins on Bitcoin, and we don't want to repeat the Terra Luna crash. In this case, the way that makes most sense to move forward is bridging USDT and USDC from the EVM. Here we can see a comparison between us and our competitors. It's worth to be mentioned that zkLayer is going to be the first ever Bitcoin native zk rollup, verifying state transition zero knowledge proofs directly on Bitcoin layer 1. We use OpCat, but we don't strictly rely on an OpCat soft fork. In fact, we are developing basically according two different approaches. The first one is, of course, getting OpCat soft forked. The second one is using Bitcoin pipes, which are functional encrypted covenants hard-coded within a cryptographic. Basically, the trust assumptions are improved from one-of-n trust assumption provided by BitVM to trustless that are provided by OpCat plus zero knowledge. We are on a mission to decentralize the full zk stack with the prover and following with the sequencer. And importantly, we adopt the evolution model for DA. In this way, we can provide both users and dApps extreme flexibility by allowing them to choose their preferred DA. We adopt a multi-VM architecture supporting primarily the EVM, but also targeting Cairo, Move, and WASM. And we are also working on our own wallet that basically gets rid of frictions for users that interact with Bitcoin and EVM-based layer 2s that usually are required them to use at least two wallets. The use cases that we are targeting are the same that are possible today on Ethereum. This chart shows an historical of Ethereum layer 2 total value locked. During the DeFi summer, we can see that Ethereum almost topped $100 billion of market capitalization. Projecting a similar scenario on Bitcoin, we will surpass over $250 billion within 2026. Worth to note that we didn't even arrive to $1 billion. Why now? We have technology maturation, both in zero-knowledge proofs and interoperability. We have a very interesting market opportunity and also developer trends that are migrating to Bitcoin since the inception of the Ordinals protocol. This is our roadmap. I don't want to get too deep into this. We are a team composed by 5 managers plus the respective branches, and we are currently advised by Brian Redford, which is co-founder and former CEO at.
How do you guys think about like BitLayer, which is also I think one of the competitors in L2, much higher in TVLs and stuff. And have you thought about who are you actually currently partnering with for the bridging liquidity piece?
Okay, I didn't mention this. We are working on 2 strategical partnerships. The first one is with Starkware. The second one is with RiskZero. We are.
Have you guys talked to Bitcoin OS?
Yes, but we talked with someone that worked with them.
Sorry, you talked to someone what?
Basically, we are partnering up with Starkware and with RiskZero, and we are in active talks with miners to actively activate Opcat on Bitcoin. In case Opcat is not going to make it, we have a contingency plan, which is the use of Bitcoin pipes. Basically, we are differentiating ourselves by developing a bridge that provides trust assumptions without requiring any operator. So basically, users with the required data can process by themselves transactions. So this is something that differentiates us. And in addition to this, we are aiming to disrupt the status quo of zk rollups that are centralized by definition by basically decentralizing in phases the prover first and the sequencer second.
I just want to say I'm very interested in this topic, and like in my company, we did invest in BitLayer, and I'm currently actively looking in a couple of others. So Mattia, I will send you a message on Telegram. I'd love to talk more on this piece.
Good to talk about.
So apparently, thanks Mattia for spending some time. Wish you best of luck. So the next one is going to be Mauricio, a BACKSTAGE co-founder. So yeah, go ahead. Passing the mic to you if you're here.
Hi, nice to meet you. My name is Mauricio. I'm the founder of BACKSTAGE. A little bit of history of mine. I spent my very beginning of my career developing class and events all over the world, especially London, Scandinavia, Mexico, US. I owned clubs for many years, and I done events with my partner, with Shaggy, Eminem, Jennifer Lopez, top tier artists around the world. My second part of my career, after I have my firstborn child, I sold my clubs, and I was selling ad servers and tracking system for publishers and advertisers from 2008 and for in 2015. The combination of my 2 experience of what the event industry is get us to create and bring to market a solution to bring solutions to a market that is enormous. I'm going to guide you through. So BACKSTAGE is an Eventify ecosystem platform. We have some problems on an industry that is so large, and I'm going to guide you to the numbers later. It's an industry that lacks innovation. It's an industry that never came from Silicon Valley or from MIT, and however, it produces 1.5 trillion globally, and it grows every year, especially when the purchasing power in a lot of Southeast Asia and many other countries is growing. Event industry is growing consequently, especially also in Africa. South America has always been huge, for events, public gathering events. Examples, you have Rio de Janeiro and Mexico and other places that they've been doing large events for many decades. But now the Southeast Asian market, the market is opening and is growing exponentially. The fragmentation of this industry, like I mentioned, is very fragmented around the world. And technologies, they have come and go. Many have tried, many have failed. The problem is that they don't understand. Most of the people who came with platforms, they want to build a product to sell. At BACKSTAGE, we're focusing in solutions more than just a platform. The industry faces a lot of challenges. One of the biggest challenges is lack of financing and basically traditional financial sector does not support the industry. However, the industry generates in some countries, an event can generate GDP and inflation a certain percentage that is considerable. Take the Formula One in Singapore, what that event alone produces for an entire economy. So we understand data, we understand what is the event industry, and so we are coming to the market with a solution. The biggest problem of this industry is promoters and organizers. They never have the possibility, have never been presented to the possibility to capture the parallel economy of what is an event. I just mentioned, for instance, the Formula One in Singapore. Everybody who is there or went there understands that hotels, bars, restaurants, retail, stores. Everything goes up on price for the simple factor of a particular event. However, the organizers capture almost zero to none part of that economy. So we're bringing a solution for this industry to capture. The streamline of this gathering process is very large, it's very complex, and it involves a lot of cross industries from leisure, like accommodation, transportation, food and beverage, and so on and so on. It's not just one industry, as many people think that it flies by its own. It is basically as a cross industry, industry. Plus, the access of funding, like I mentioned before, is very limited. So the BACKSTAGE ecosystem has come out with 3 solutions to begin the journey and capture this data using Web3 technology. First, it's a marketplace. It's a B2B2C hub for the industry. Basically, it's a place where our customers use to distribute their products and services, connecting their brands and their partners, advertisers, and so on to capture the economy. Then we have a wallet on which it distributes and stores and generates profit, but every single payment that happens around an industry. And then we have this Stagers app that is an app to build for B2C. We have a model for our token that is basically mostly rely on revenue. So our technology is based to capture all this economy and build it into token health, price action, buying pressure, higher revenue shares, big impact on the volume, and remove BKS from circulation in a short and a long term, because we have the buyback and lock mechanism for every single revenue that we generate with our partners. The POS system, same model. Let's just utility of the token. I can send it to you this so you can see it. Market size is expected to grow at 2.7 trillion, like I will mention. This is just ticket sales revenue. Our partners we are starting to build Web3 events for OKX. We also start with ICP, and we are doing our own festival in Turkey ourselves. Like again, user benefits. Sorry guys, we have our partners like CAA, the largest agency in the world, Superstruck Entertainment Industry, have 190 festivals. Let me just go fast. We have the ask. Right now, we already concluded 3 rounds successful. Early backers, 140K. We raised it on pre-seed 600K. On seed round, 540K. And now we are raising the remaining 800K in private and KOL round. This is a roadmap. That is what we already achieved in 2025. And then we are launching in Q1 2025 our token. This is our expected revenue, confirmed revenue. We sold 500,000 tickets in 2000. We actually reached the target. We are short at about 150 tickets, but we are very close to a target. And that is only 0.05% of the global market share. By 2025, we're already cash positive, and this is our projections. We have a team of experts in all the areas when it comes to legal, like our CFO, Mickey Loon, came from Universal Music. Massive, this came from Steve. I have 10 years, like I said, technology and event areas, and so on, guys. So our team is very experienced, and we've been doing it for 3 years. So we are not just a project that just born last week or 2 months ago to try to, to capture some kind of idea. We're actually a solid project that is ready to take the market. Our platform is live. You can go and check it out, backstage.global, where you can see already all the traction that has been inside there in the past events, pilot events. And yeah, there we go, guys.
Yes, yeah, thank you so much. I think I had the same question of Joshua in the text. How do you actually want to compete with Ticketmaster? They are completely, I think, they're like monopoly in the market, controlling everything.
No, okay, good question. We are not planning to compete with Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster captures 12% of the global market share. They've been founded in the 70s. 50 years later, they're still growing.
But also, they're the ones that increase the prices. I mean, with the things that happen,
they have. Basically, we have as a Backstage. This is what we decide. We needed to be better on what the Web2 offer, plus integrating Web3. That's why we spent 1.5 years piloting testing with artists, promoters, and festivals. So we avoid price gouging, transparency that is our motto, so the artists and the fans know exactly what they're paying for. We don't do dynamic pricing, and it's verifiable on chain. So we are trying and we are working. In fact, we actually been in discussion for 5 months with Ticketmaster. But after the DOJ lawsuit in the US, our legal team and our team decided to stop conversations with Ticketmaster because of the massive legal problem they have.
Great, thank you.
Okay, guys, more questions. Feel free to address to Mauricio. Oh, then I have a question. So I've been wondering, Mauricio, what's your current goal?
Well, right now, for us, it's very important our roadmap of events that we're putting out. And one of the biggest verticals that we actually capturing is the Web3 event organization. So that's why we are doing an event in Bangkok with OKX. That's going to be our first. We are launching our own Web3 festival, music festival in a private land in Turkey. And the reason that we are doing that, because for us, it's an easy task. We are event professional organizers. It's lack of this kind of level of experiences on the Web3. So we are first going to capture every single event related to gathering, music, on the Web3 space. That is our next goal for the next 6 months. So we're going to start doing that. And by 2025, we're going to start booking as an event producing company tours. Our first tours, I cannot allow to announce it publicly yet, but our first tour, we are looking, Rihanna is planning to tour again in 2026. And we are in very close negotiation with CAA because she does not want to do Live Nation tour. He got screwed last tour with Live Nation. She lost 70% in the contract. Live Nation made about 150% of the top of her own fees. So her team and her manager and her agency are doing everything they can not to do a Live Nation. And we have a very solid financial backing to do the tour of Rihanna worldwide. And that's going to put us in the map in every single news organization, every single paper, and everything about 80 nations that we'll be doing for 2 years tour with Rihanna.
All right, got it, thanks. And we received a couple questions in the chat, so let me read that. So how do real world assets factor into Backstage's strategy for reshaping live events?
Perfect question. Today, ticketers are basically nothing. It's a QR code in an email that I guess has one use purpose, that is a scan at the door to prove the entry, to prove that you purchase the rights to be on that place. In Backstage, we turn that as an asset, a perpetual activatable asset that grows with value with time. One of the biggest problems that artists at the industry have is privacy laws. They cannot reach their fan base apart of their own communities of Instagram. So email databases, they are being shrink by the year because you need to reconfirm engagement with every single one. So with Backstage, we consider smart contracts, NFTs, a new cookie. That's a new cookie that is not a private domain. So fans, brands, artists alike and promoters can activate this smart contract, and this smart contract will grow in value through time. So when I go to a concert 2 years from now, I go to my smart contract and I have offers, discounts, upgrades that it will have value on the market. And the artists will generate values with their own NFT production through the same type of engagement via wallet. That is the philosophy behind Backstage, engagement and upselling.
Okay, hope that answered the question. And the next one goes, what is a token utility and how does it fit in within the ecosystem?
Okay, good question. Well, the token have 3 layers of utilities. One is solve problems in the industry that you guys are not aware, that is the lack of trust between the management and the agency and the venue and the promoter. So it's automatic distribution found on a trustable layer, a trustable token. They don't trust layers. They don't know Bitcoin. They don't know Ethereum. They don't care about Polygon or Cardano. They want something that they know, they recognize the trust in order to enter the crypto market. So we are proposing ourselves to be the token that, so when someone pays onto the platform, one of the things that is solved, automatic distribution is found, zero litigation by smart contract. So wherever it goes to the promoter, it goes to the promoter, where it goes to the artist, and it's instant and it's undisputable. Second, the value of the token for the user gives access to perks and benefits that otherwise you cannot do with fiat. Okay, so for instance, Backstage does Rihanna tour. The ticket is $180. Pay with BKS is $100. So for me, I never use, because we're a mass adoption mentality, I never use crypto my entire life. Now we just, by buying a token, I sell in 80 quid. Plus, a certain amount of tokens holders will receive meet and greet possibilities, front stage, capabilities, all things that fans love to have access with that they don't have today because current currencies, they don't give you that. Third, but the last is the lack of financing, like I mentioned in the deck. We are launching our Launchpad and a POS system on which everything ran on the BKS token without us having to build a layer ourselves. So we can plug it. That's why we're a multi-chain platform and running any layer, that it makes sense, that it gives fast transactions, safety, and low gas fees.
Okay, thank you. So do we have more questions to Mauricio? Okay, thanks. So it seems like we are moving on to the third project. Thanks, Mauricio, for presenting. It was a pleasure hearing you out. And the third project is going to be Purpose for Profit, and Elizabeth Kukka is representing. So yeah, feel free to connect. Thanks for joining in. Hi.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, or good evening, wherever in the world you may be. My name is Liz Kukka. I'm co-founder at Purpose for Profit. So what in the world are we doing? Our goal is to transform marginalized communities through initiatives that promote long-term growth and sustainability. We're starting with affordable housing because in the US alone, there's a shortage of over 7 million affordable units at a value of over $300 billion. And the opportunity, one, I just mentioned the housing piece. Second, as you all know, digital assets are almost valued at $3 trillion today. So there's a lot of capital circulating around that we could be putting to work, getting it back with yields. And then being in Web3 for over 7 years myself full time, I really can't do anything else at this point, but we do use Web3 for transparency and collective governance. And then conscious capital is severely on the rise, and that's a good thing. So our vision is connecting blockchain to real world assets, and I'll get into that in a moment, and that has to do with our loans and lending. We're activating a new segment of impact investors. We're driving additional capital to affordable housing. Really, most importantly to my heart is activating new sectors to Web3. So that's real estate, that's general contractors, it's impact investors, and it's nonprofits. And we're also elevating an outdated nonprofit model. So what in the world do we do? We're the world's first on-chain endowment fund and tokenized private credit fund that's dedicated to impact. We do this in 3 ways. There's 3 categories. One is an endowment. What that means is at the end of the year, after our token holders, our subscribers, and our team are all set, any profits get rolled into this endowment fund. So it's one directional. That means it's dedicated to impact. We can't take funds out. We can only lend it out, get interest paid, get money back, but it only goes out. We can't give rewards to people from that kind of bucket. The second is our impact fund, which will launch in April of next year. It's just like any other fund in a lot of ways. And then the third are our token holders. Our token is an exempt security offering. We're finishing Reg D right now. What our token will provide are voting rights. And we're working with our legal team, Perkins Coie, to work on language around staking. And so for staking for us, we are offering it as a debt-based offering. So if you stake, you have 3, 6, 9, and 12-month terms that are beneficial to us because it helps with price stability. And we're working through that right now, and it's looking good. So I'll get to that more in a bit. Also, we're a 501c3, and as a 501c3, we can sell securities. This is an example of a project that we would be lending to. This is considered a purpose-based project. And what that means is that they're developing housing for mixed income. That's affordable housing, workforce housing, and also market rate. There's mixed use development happening there as well as green space. So how in the world do we get started? You join our Purpose economy. We lend out to projects. We do this with NFT packaged loans using Centrifuge, which currently has 300 million assets under management. They're packaged as NFTs, not so that you can buy, sell, and trade them, although we'd like to do that in the future. We do that for transparency reasons. When we package our loans as NFTs, you can see all of their loans dispersed, all of our assets under management. You can see if a loan's in default. You can see our tokens both on and off chain. And so the idea here is if you were to put money into something like BlackRock, you were to invest in a short-term municipal bond, you can see the terms, you can see the rates, but you can't see where the money is really flowing. We believe that capital is power, and we should all have the ability to direct our funds towards the world that we want to see. Using NFTs, you can also, again, I mentioned you can monitor everything that's happening, but you can also see when yield is paid out. This is one of our many dashboard screens showing how Web3 is important for what we're trying to do. And at $100 million assets under management, this is what our returns look like. Impact, of course, is a really big deal to us. But again, this is starting at 100 million. And again, until our token holders, our stakers are made whole, our subscribers are made whole, the team is set, then we start to sweep profits into that endowment. We expect token holders to earn around 18% within 1 year. We have a regular buyback strategy in place, while subscribers to our fund at 6 to 12-month terms would receive 5 to 8% APY. We have a pretty stacked team of folks who've been working in affordable housing for over 20 years, have fund management experience, and so on. I've been in Web3 specifically for 7. I helped launch a fully regulated exchange in Abu Dhabi called Matrix that's still alive today. I've helped launch a fully regulated custody business in South Dakota called Digital Custody Trust Company, fully regulated hedge fund. I was at ChainSafe Systems for 2 years, where I helped lead a 130-person fully decentralized team and sold highly technical solutions to Gnosis at Aztec on the privacy side, as well as decentralized solutions to Ethereum Foundation, Polkadot, Chainlink, and more when it comes to light client solutions to help keep their networks decentralized. Our board is pretty stacked as well. We're raising $2 million via debt and token sale right now. And if you're interested in learning more, you can go ahead and send me an email or send me a note on TG. I'm Liz TK. Thank you.
So yeah, Q&A time. Feel free to address any questions to Elizabeth.
Thank you. I have a question for Elizabeth. How about the landing? I'm assuming that you help with building, but like how do you manage the land?
Yeah, so we're starting on the general contractor side. We had thought about starting on the traditional real estate development, which we'd like to get to, but because our loans, and these are business loans, not personal loans, they'll be around $200,000 to $300,000. We'll be pretty small on a capital stack of 10 to 20 million. So we're starting with general contractors. We're lending specifically construction bridge loans. About 70 to 80% of all bridge loans, construction bridge, are private lending in the US today at 15 to 20% interest. So it's pretty high, and we can bring that down significantly. We do a forwards-based repayment. So we partner with banks. So generally the way building works, in the US at least, is real estate developer has a set of milestones. The general contractor needs to meet those. If they don't get paid. That means they either have to pay out of pocket, the project goes unpaid, or which means all of the construction workers don't get paid, or the project stops altogether. And so these are 3 to 6 month bridge loans to help them meet that milestone. We get paid first before they do from the bank.
And what do you use blockchain for that?
It's the blockchain side is all for the fund management, not for the general contractor. Although we have that in our plan to start rewarding general contractors.
For the accounting, you mean? For the accounting?
What was that?
Or is that for the accounting and the...
It's for accounting and reporting.
Okay, I think it's been answered. Next question.
Hi, Elizabeth. Yeah, I love the idea here. Just a quick question on the due diligence side. Who's doing the bonding and the escrow and the oversight and whatnot? Is that internal, or are you feeding that out to other companies?
Can you, when it comes to lending?
Yeah, like, doing the due diligence on the builder and the project.
Oh, on the building, yes.
Studies and the escrow, disbursements and stuff.
Yeah. Great question. So another reason why it's nice for us to start on the other side of the table and not, say when it's like purchasing land or pre-construction, because we're lending during construction. All of that's already been done for the most part on like the basic due diligence, or actually pretty thorough due diligence. We're using something called Blue Book, at least in California specifically, where we can see all projects that have been permitted. We can see general contractors' licenses and so on. But to be more specific, we have a committee that will be reviewing all of the projects that we lend to. Something that we're excited about is, as a token holder down the road, being able to vote on where we lend encourages folks to pay attention to who we're lending to, because if we don't get our money back, if folks default, a portion, all of the staking rewards come from our own revenues. We're very anti-inflation, so we're not just minting tokens out of thin air. And so it encourages folks to pay attention to where we're lending, because it affects their own bottom line.
And most of these homes are pre-sold by the time they finish construction, or is the contractor rolling into permanent financing upon finishing?
They'd be going into permanent financing, but we're getting paid back before that. These are 3 to 6 month loans, so we're not dependent upon having to sell or rent revenues. That's not our wheelhouse. For us, it's just short term, 3 to 6 months, which is great, because in most generally real estate investments are a 3 to 6 year time horizon. That's fully dependent on somebody either having wanting to purchase the facility or like the unit or rental income. Yeah, we're not stuck in that bucket.
Well, last time I built a house in Maui, it took about 3 to 6 months just to close the loan. So I understand it's a place that needs some fixing. Yeah,
that's pretty bad. 3 to 6 months is pretty long.
Okay, thanks, Peter, for the question. And we've got another question in chat from Mary. So it goes, what role do staking and voting rights play in engaging the purpose token holders?
Yeah, so on voting, for example, we've had some investors who have already asked us, like, hey, what about having a higher rate of return when it comes to launching the fund itself in April, not just for token holders, but for subscribers? I'd like to get a bigger return. I had mentioned 5 to 8% APY. Well, what about 10? And so when I said, well, what if you as a voter could decide on that? Do you want to put more money into affordable housing, or do you want more money in your pocket? And they got quiet for a second. I said, well, that's exactly why we're going to put this to the community. We want this to be collectively governed within 5 years. We're following a progressive decentralization model so that within 5 years, it is fully collectively governed. So we start with the board of 5, eventually to be 500. And so that it's not just sitting with us to have to make these kind of moral decisions, so to speak. We've no interest in doing that. We want the community to decide where should money go.
Okay, in that case, I think we have some spare time for the fourth project. Thanks, Elizabeth, for sticking to us. It's been a pleasure hearing you out. Wish you best of luck. And it seems like it's been a substitute. So instead of bio, we can let in Michael Holdman from PraSaga project. So he decided to volunteer and be the fourth speaker for today. So I appreciate that. Thanks for connecting, and passing the mic to you.
Thank you very much. Everybody, hello. Very happy to be here. Let me try to get this set real quick. Hold on a minute. Okay, so we're PraSaga. We are a core layer blockchain project, and we are blockchain's next big step. So the problem that we are addressing is mass adoption of blockchain. It hasn't happened yet, but we've been there before. The internet in 2005, into the year 2000, this was actually a post that was done by the Daily Mall. Internet may be just a passing fad as millions give up on it. There are 3 big hurdles in blockchain, and it really emulates what happened in internet. A, lack of functionality. B, a lack of standards. And C, it's still hard to use. Our parents aren't using it, grandparents aren't using it and such because of the difficulties of it. We've only got, I think I saw the other day, 2.7% of the world population has accounts, or there's an equal number of accounts on blockchain for that. And many have multiple. So we're probably less than 1% of the total addressable market of the global population. So what are the key to adoption? Well, we believe the same thing that happened in internet is the way that it's going to happen here. And that's seamless enterprise integration, delivering greater real world utility to the consumer. And I say that once the catalyst, and I always go to the banks, the catalyst for people to start to use the internet was when we no longer had to drive to the bank to do a wire transfer, or we no longer had to get on a phone, listen to all of our transactions between paper statements being mailed out so we could balance our checkbook. And that is where we get. Now, what do enterprises want? Well, we are part of the Digital Twin Consortium. We are actually now putting together proposals for international open standards of programmable smart assets, of how you would represent an asset of any type on a blockchain. They want greater composability. Auto supply manufacturing. An automobile has about 30,000 parts to it, plus components, plus certificates, plus accounts of those suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors. You cannot do composability between 30,000 smart contracts. It's impossible to do. What we have done is something that has a little different, and I'll show that in the next slide. Deeper auditability capabilities. They want to be able to track every single thing that happened to every single thing that they ever touch from cradle to grave. That is impossible on any current systems, legacy, or any blockchains that are based on the smart contract data model. And they want proprietary data control. They want to be able to participate in the permissionless public chain immutability, but they want to keep all of their data off of the public chain. zk allows you to encrypt your data, but it's still there. So if somebody gets your keys, they get your data. This is a way, and this is one of the other things that we solved for. And just today I read R3 is now trying to find an acquirer. Permission chains have died in enterprise. They offer no benefit over a distributed database because they still have the same number of places to hack in order to manipulate data. Next, our solution, programmable smart assets. We completely get rid of smart contracts. We've introduced a third data model of blockchain, and it's emulated in the same exact way that you have been using computers for the past 4 decades. It's a way that developers have been developing for the past 4 decades. It's called a class tree, and it's on every single device in the world. We just were able to take that class tree and put it onto a blockchain. So now we have a global namespace, a global single instance class tree, and it's all driven by an operating system that we wrote. This isn't smart contracts managing other smart contracts. It was actually the same exact architecture, although modified, that Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and others use. And then private enclaves, because of this architecture, a system can have an enterprise can have their own separate chain, and they can go ahead and put their data in there, participate in the security of the whole chain. We have a GPT component so people can learn Saga Python. We use Python as a base for our model, and that allows them to, so now 85% of the world's devs know how to do it. Our competitor analysis, competitors, we know who they are, we know what they are. We're not trying to compete, we're looking to collaborate with them and produce standards. Hester Peirce has called us a TSA pre-check of the regulatory use of blockchain. Current ecosystem, DApps, industry infrastructure. Our real focus is consumer, but we're going through the enterprise in order to get to them. The areas we're looking at, real world assets, we're actually working with both the IEEE and the DTC in order to do this. Global supply chain, entertainment to media. We have a revenue model that's based on a foundation fee of the transaction fee. And then this is the sale that we have going on right now, 15 million hard cap, penny, 50% bonus, 12-month cliff. You're in an APR 155 down to 55, so you increase your principal supply by 3.5x. Plus, you are one of up to 1,000 nodes during public testnet, participating and competing to win to mint 8.1 billion coins for our circulating supply when we go to mainnet, and minimum allocation is 100,000 for 4 nodes. So basically, before your principal's released, you could potentially 3x your principal before it's unlocked by this system. And then what we're going to spend that on is 1.3 on G&A, launch and list 2 million. More developers got $1 million for that to get from private testnet where we are now, sagascan.prasaga.com. You can see a sharded blockchain running. It goes up and down because it's our dev. We're letting you watch our dev. IT support for the servers and testnet, and then liquidity for launch. Disclaimer, nothing I said can be taken as gospel. There are no guarantees. It's all high risk. And then thank you very much. And I appreciate everybody's time.
Okay, so thank you, Michael. Let's waste no time. Q&A section is now. And we already received a question from Weddell Adams. How do the nodes work?
So it'll be it's just Docker containers. You can go to code.prasaga.com. We are just finishing up the last piece that actually allows us to scale unlike any other blockchain, where we are producing blocks, individual per shard, doing transactions, individual per shard. We scale capacity, not transaction. As soon as Dave has this algorithm written, we will post the README on how to start up the node. Anybody that understands Docker would be able to figure it out if you're an experienced dev. But in the future, it's just going to be download the Docker, run the script, and your nodes are up and running. And it's going to be that easy. And it automatically discovers all the other nodes out there in the network and downloads all of the the state and everything like that. We're simplifying it as much as possible.
Okay, thanks. And guys, huge thanks everyone. To everyone messaging us in chats, and so it's really a pleasure to read all your questions. Thanks for the activity. And yeah, here's another one. PraSaga employs a POS/POW hybrid approach.
Yes, it does. So it's actually a POS/POW, POS, and then hash braining approach. So you cannot solve security problems with just one. POS is a short-term solution or mitigation on security. I can go back. If anybody gets the keys from any block in history, they can start a new chain right there, become the longest chain by default. Everybody comes over and you've just taken over ETH. I don't know why they switched over from POW to POS. What we've done, we also know that you need POW. That's the only long-term that anybody can really find, the most secure long-term mitigation for security. So what we do is we run, and just say there's 256 nodes on each shard. 21 nodes are randomly chosen, and they do the verification, reach BFT consensus, a block is produced. Then every node on that shard competes for the POW. After the POW is won, it's a 15-second POW. So we'll never be the fastest chain out there. Every single transaction will take 15 to 30 seconds, depending on when you get into rotation. But it'll be fully finalized and settlement will be done within that time. So you can be guaranteed that within 30 seconds globally, for a quarter of a penny plus whatever storage is, that's the minimum we're going to set on transaction fee, you're going to have all your transactions complete. It does have POW, and then we go back and do one more round of POS to verify that the POW was actually done. This allows three things. It allows us to get rid of the signatures because we secured it with the proof of work, and you can't fork any blocks because the POW didn't produce the block. It was produced by the POS. And the last thing that we do is we actually take that hash from each one of the blocks and we share that there's a leader to leader system. This is a leader based chain. Every shard has a leader. We share that hash with the leaders from all other blocks. So now instead of having to do 15 seconds worth of work in order to win a block, because it's hashed with the other blocks, it's times 10, 15 seconds times 100, 15 seconds times 500, however many shards there are, that's the actual amount of time that you would have to do the work in order to get to one block on one shard. And that'll just grow exponentially compared to how Bitcoin did. It'll be a much faster growth. To get to that, it's just too much to take it over. It's too costly. Sorry for the long explanation, but yeah, that's what it is.
No, I think that's all right. Thanks for explaining it in such detail. And this goes from me. I've noticed a roadmap section in your page. So can you elaborate on that a tiny bit more?
On our roadmap?
Yeah.
So where we're at right now is we've been working on this for quite some time. We started in 2017. It took us until February 2022 to be able to start writing code. That's how much research and everything had to be done, and architecture and proof that yes, this works and such. Our roadmap now is twofold. We had to comply with FINMA regulations in Switzerland. We're currently a Swiss foundation. Looking at though, because of their new stance on stable coins, you don't know wherever they're going to take it from there. So we are going to, now that we have functioning chain, and that's why we put up sagascan.prasaga.com to show that there's a running chain. Under Swiss law, we could not do any coin release until we had the functioning chain, which we now have. That allows us now, while we're building out to mainnet, we're going to do a wrapped coin. We're going to do a launch pad. The goal is to do it in December. I'm told early December. The last 2 weeks are not good to do a launch pad. So in about 45 days or so, do a launch pad with a wrapped coin. And then soon after that, we'll put the wrapped coin on the CEX. The way that's going to work, we are going to actually mint coin over a number of blocks in this private testnet with the public viewer. Anybody can watch us mint the coin. It will go into a PraSaga Foundation treasury, and then we will move an allocation of that over to another account. We are an account-based system. That means every individual account, every one of your accounts, you have your own account container that every one of your assets sits in. The state of everything that you've ever done from cradle to grave in your entire life is now under your control in your sovereign, individual sovereignty container, basically. It's not, the state isn't sitting in a smart contract and you have a wallet that reflects some rights you have to. So we will move that over, and then we will into that account, and we will mirror that with a wrapped Saga coin and list that and let people start to trade and get liquidity on, Ethereum, BSC, Solana, and such, wherever we can do a wrapped coin at. And that's our roadmap. And then in 2025, we'll switch everything over to native coin.
Okay, gotcha. And just a quick question from the chat. So this goes from Mary. Can you explain the benefits of combining proof of stake and proof of work in your consensus model?
Yeah, securing the chain. Like I said, I can on any POS chain. Is it probable? No. But is it possible? Yes. So when you've got trillions of dollars in assets and other people's money sitting in some sort of database, you better make sure that impossible is what you're reaching. And as I stated, I can go back. If anybody gets private keys from any block that was created on any POS chain in the history, you can start a new block at that point, because as I stated, by doing the POW, we can get rid of all of those signatures that are in the block. On any POS chain, those signatures are all part of the block. So all the public keys are sitting in there. As long as you get the private keys, you can start a new block there. You can just do the work. It doesn't take a long time to sign. So a 5-year-long POS chain, you could do in probably, depending on the size of the computer, in minutes. And you become the longest chain. The problem with the default here in crypto, and it's the only way to really do it on blockchain, you default to the longest chain. All new nodes come in, go to the longest chain. Sooner or later, the old nodes are going to come over because that's where all the money is. And you have taken over Ethereum. It's nothing but computer law and computer science. There's no way around it. If you are as secure as the weakest key management that anybody in the history of that chain had. Does that make sense?
I think it does. Yeah. Thanks for that. And
sorry to scare everybody, but you got to be careful with these things.
Yeah, apparently. So that's a perfect ending point, I guess, for our today's collective call. Thank you, everyone, for participating, especially our dear speakers. So Mattia, Mauricio, Michael, and Elizabeth, huge shout out for sticking to us, finding some time. And yeah, all the participants, you are just great guys for sticking to us, for joining every Tuesday and Tuesday. And yeah, see you next time. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.